Our sponsors, great, large, small, without a doubt in that we won't be where we are without our sponsorship, and thank you all genuinely for that. Our guest speaker tonight is our new Irish Show's Secretary nationwide, Mr. Jim Harrison. Jim took over from Michael Hughes, and Michael had been here a number of times over the years, and an out-and-out gentleman and another gentleman to replace him. So I'm going to hand over to Michael, or to Jim here, to say a few words.
I thought you were going to talk for half
an hour. No, I am not. That's why you're standing down for the night.
Thank you very much, Gerard, for your kind invite. When I was invited first here to Swinford, believe it or believe it not, I passed through Swinford a few times going to Westport. But believe it or not, the last time I passed through Swinford, I had tea in this very place. You couldn't believe that, but that's the way it worked out. I had tea in this very place. Actually, your man has never noticed me yet, but anyway. Look, it's a pleasure to be here. I'll tell you a wee bit about myself, I suppose, first. I suppose that's the first thing I suppose you need to do, is that, look, I was always born and reared in Castleberry in County Monaghan, beside the famous Big Town. Only about a quarter of a mile down the road from Big Town, that's where I live. And I'm still living in the same place I was born. So that's 55 or 6 years ago now. So that's... I grew up on farming. Farming was my background all through my life as a young fella, and going to shows and going to the local show in Castleberry, and the only thing I entered whenever I was young, and I think everybody still should be entering it, is handwriting, copybooks, stuff like that. You know, that's the way shows should bring young people into the showing thing. Is bring them in real young, bring them in at school level, go out to your schools and really tell your schools what you want. Because a lot of the school teachers, and there could be school teachers here, no offence, but they need to come up to the plate and to keep our shows alive. It's the young people that's going to keep our shows alive. No one else. We won't. My age now going on and further on, we will be here, we'll be doing what we have to do for the rest of our time, but it's the young people that we need coming into shows, and we're very, very few young people. I know in a lot of shows, I don't know what Swinford's like, you've got a great young people, see a young secretary here, it's great to see it, great to see young people taking up the thing, but that's what I done as a young knife. And then I suppose as time went on, I got into the building trade, and at 17 years of age I landed away to do plastering, and to serve my time as a plasterer. I finished up a serve my time as jack of all trades and master probably a none, but anyway, that was to say, I stayed in that all more or less and doing bits of farming, and that until 2011, when I had a couple of back operations in 2011 and 2013, so that finished the building end of it. I had to get pulled out of it. Come from a suckler farm, and I know Mayo here, it would be coming that there'd be a lot of sucklers, more probably sucklers than there is dairy, and it's not a good thing to be in at the minute, to be honest. It's suckler farming because there's not much money in it. In fact, there's no money in it. But why is there no money in it? I suppose Brexit, Mercosur, greenhouse gases, animal welfare, veganism, cap reform, water quality, corned beef prices, and all importantly weather. That's why, I suppose, if you put all them together and try to tease them out, it'd be nearly impossible to do. But I think Brexit is going on long enough, to be honest. I think it needs to be sorted. I think the Irish government here and the English government need to tear this thing apart and get it sorted out and get up and running, because it's not the buzzword for up to probably 3 months ago was all Brexit. But now you never tell of Brexit that much because people's fed up with it, that's why. And it's near time that we pulled it together and sorted it out, and I just hear it coming down the road. There's going to be no movement on Brexit. That sickens me, to be honest with you. We have got to go and take it by the collar of the neck and tear it to bits and get it done, and then move on. This Mercosur job on these cattle, complete disaster. We have to talk and lobby all your politicians and make them vote against it, because we have to vote against it. We have no other option when you vote against it. This is to sell cars, this is to sell whatever they want to sell, but it's not, definitely not to sell beef, and that much for a fact. As far as shows is concerned, and I'll get on now to the shows. Shows are doing well this year, believe it or not. I suppose you're only starting the show scene here in the West. There's not that many shows over yet in the Western region, but I know there's a lot of shows over in the North and the South, and they've all went well. If you get a good day, you get a good show. That's just the way it is. You know, you put in all the work that you want to put in, and these women here know the work, and Jared knows the work, and every secretary, every person that works at the show knows all the work. If you get a bad day, it's a complete disaster. It's just the bottom falls out of you, and it's very, very hard to get picked up again. But having said that, we'll all get a bad day. Every one of us will get a bad day at some stage or another in our shows scene. But we just have to pick ourselves up and keep going again, you know. So the only thing that I'll say about shows is on that, shows are, they're a wee bit like baking a cake. Anybody that ever, and I'm sure the Southern women here, bakes cakes, it has to have ingredients. If a cake has no ingredients, it probably doesn't work. The first ingredient in a show is the committee. If you have a good, sound, hard-working committee, that will shine through for the show. And everybody that comes into that show, and whenever that show's on during the day, you can really tell that that committee has worked. They've set the show up properly, they've done their job, and it's working. So a big congratulations to all committees, including this, and especially to this one here tonight, to Swinford Committee, for putting the show together. The second one, and Jared has already spoken about, is sponsors. We have no sponsors, we have no show, because we have no money to pay out the prize money. And it's very important that to bring exhibitors into it, the exhibitors to come in has that prize money to make them cattle, or horses, or hens, or cake of bread, or anything look well. So you need the money to pay out for the prize money, and you need as much money as you actually can get. You know what I mean? You can cut your cloth to whatever standard you like, but you need fairly good prize money. You need one or two classes in each area to attract the people to it. So a big thank you to the sponsors and the exhibitors then for coming, and you know, it's a tough job, and there's a few of them here tonight, a few faces that I know is exhibiting cattle a lot around the country. And it's not an easy job, weekend after weekend after weekend, to keep them cattle fed, to keep them, as I call it, polished, and all the rest of it, to keep them up, booming up. And look at, sometimes you get the red rosette, and it's great. Sometimes you don't, and it's not so good, you know. So a big thank you to the exhibitors. Stewards and helpers, very, very important. Very important to have a good squad on the day, and if you haven't got the good squad on the day, you can't run the show either. So that it all links into one another. Landowners, if you have landowners that gives over the ground, they're not giving it over for a day, remember, they're giving it over for at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, whenever the growth comes back on it, and that is giving land over for that. People through the gate. People through the gate. You don't have people through the gate, you're going to have no funds. So if you have no funds, you have no play. So you want the people through the gate. And the most important thing is the oven. You won't bake the cake without an oven, and you won't run a show without an oven. Does anybody know what the oven is? The sun. The sun bakes the show, so the oven bakes the cake. So that's the way it is. There's one thing, a couple of things I want to say too is, we were lucky enough to get a bit of funding this past couple of years for shows. And I'll tell you one thing, we worked damn hard on that. I got up one day, it's about 3 years ago now, I don't know, it's about 3 years ago, or maybe even on 4 years ago. Michael Creed, the Minister of Agriculture, was just into office. And I had a connection with Michael Creed before that, before he came into office in agriculture. And I got a meeting with him, and I had to go to Bandon, County Cork for it. And I went down the road to Bandon, County Cork, 5:30 in the morning, to meet him at 10:30 in Bandon. And I was dearly sure, going down that road, that I would be fit to talk this man into giving us some sort of money. But it just didn't happen. It did definitely not happen. And that that went on, and there was several other meetings with the Agriculture Minister and Agriculture, all to do with agriculture. But we were backing up the wrong tree, to be honest with you. It's rural development we should be looking for to get money. And lucky enough, your own minister here, I don't know whether he's in this area or not, but look at he's in Mayo, Wenua. Michael Ring come along, and we had a meeting with Michael Ring, and before the meeting started, we knew we were going to get money. But we didn't think we were going to get as much money as we did, to be honest. We got a lot of money, 812,000 first year, 600,000 for this year. And I would be very, very hopeful that it will be coming next year again. I wouldn't like to see it here tonight because of him in his own county. But we have had meetings with him, and he's the sort of a man that tells you like that. He doesn't tell you 3 or 4 weeks beforehand. He just tell it to you as it is, and that's the way I like about him, to be honest with you. We've built up a good relationship with him, and it's going well. And hopefully, if we got it in 3 years, we might get it then as a thing going forward. Mightn't get as much money, of course. I wouldn't think. We got the first money, 812,000. That was supposed to be it. We come on him and we got more. We're on him again. I think we'll get less than 600. But having said that, if we get any sort of money at all, it'll be good. So I'd be very, very hopeful that we get as much money as we could get. You know. So at that, I wish you well in your show. I don't know where I'll get to it or not, but let's face it.
Well, just know you're welcome.
Yes. And another thing too, if I don't get the year, there's always next year, there's always the year after. But I will say now, I will be at your show in the next 3 years. Okay? Thank you very much.
Now, it's going to take a bit to follow that. Thank you, Jim. There's no doubt about it. I just want to follow up on what Jim said there in relation to thanking our Minister for Rural Affairs, Michael Ring, number one, for his funding last year and again this year, without a doubt. That has been a proven massive asset. And that isn't only to Swinford Show, that's into every community, where there's a show nationwide. So that's in total 12,000 over 2 years into the town of Swinford. And that money comes, okay, to the show or through the show to be invested into Swinford and into the kids of the future. Looking at my own two back there, but that's what Swinford is here for, that's what the show is here for, is for the future and the changes that will come about that. And over time, there's always changes. Generally, as nearly as a rule of thumb, there can be a change in life every 6 months for anyone individually. Last year, we had the change, we moved to Sunday show. This year, we have quite a number of changes through the schedule. In the cattle, there's quite a number. I'm not sure about the sheep. Have we changes in the sheep? We have changes in the sheep. I know that in the horses, Joe was saying earlier on, that it's the loose lunging for the pony and horse over 3 years. So that's a new added change, and with the addition of the young handler in poultry, which is a new class there as well. And I know that the ladies have worked on some changes in the marquee, but I can't quote that. But changes do come about, and changes, even as a committee, we change over time, and going forward we'll change. If there's one change I would like to see going forward, as a group, as a town, will be more of a long-term view for the show, and that we have something there. We'll say that we have a forward planning as opposed to just getting through 1 year at a time. Then to come back and thank people, this is always a dangerous game. I'm always in danger of leaving somebody out. But that thank you is to go extended to one and all for their little or their large sponsorship. Money is money when it comes in the gate. Chris Hearns, or the Hearn family, for the use of the field, without doubt we'd be at a loss without them. And I know Chris sent his apologies, he couldn't be here tonight. But in addition to that, while our schedule is not launched just yet, and for a change it's nobody else's fault but the chairman's, he hasn't made the change in his own corner. So I have to take the brunt for that. Yes, Michael, you're off the hook. It was the cattle. It was the cattle for the last number of years. It's actually the poultry this time. But the one other thing that the Agri Show provides, no more than the Shimsa or the 250, and we have to compliment the Swinford 250 office this year for their use for a show day. But that is the atmosphere that's created by that, by the people, by the committee, by the exhibitors, by the general public that walk in the gate. Certainly without a doubt, the sun on the day always brings out the better atmosphere. Our traders, and we've stolen or borrowed a couple of ideas through the Brendan Cassidy down there, and I want to thank Brendan for, if he's still here, for his support as well throughout the year. In the background, quietly, this year's flyer for an advertisement point of view, locally, in particular, but nationally as well, if you want to send it anywhere, in relation to the show and the show's events. Thanks, Brendan, for that. It's taken from the template for the Shimsa, which is on later on in the year. One of the problems is that nobody likes, and I never like to come up here and talk, one of the biggest problems is when you get somebody talking, is stopping them. So I'm going to leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of our nights, there's only a few in the year, where we can give to our sponsors the hospitality. That's why we invite them, as well as everybody else. The cup of tea, the sandwich, the atmosphere, the social aspect of it. We all know about the work on the day, but we do that, we enjoy it at the end of it all, and especially when we have a successful show, like we have for the last couple of years, thank God. So, thank you one and all for whatever it is you do. Yet again, thank you, Jim, for your presence. You're welcome back for show day, any day. Never be afraid to stop the next time you're passing through, now that everyone knows you. Thank you, and that's all I can say is thank you. I did leave out one gentleman I see there coming now, is Seamus Lavin, for the use of the premises here tonight.